As the sleek spacecraft, named Eridani-IV, descended through the thick atmosphere of the distant planet Eridani-IV, Captain Ava Rhodes stood at the control panel, her eyes fixed on the viewscreen displaying the alien landscape below. Beside her, Commander Marcus Kane double-checked the coordinates for their landing site. Approaching the designated landing zone, Captain Marcus reported, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. Ava nodded, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Prepare for touchdown," she ordered, her gaze flickering to the rest of the crew seated behind them in the cockpit. Among them was Dr. Mei Ling, the mission's chief xenobiologist, her sharp mind already analyzing the data streaming in from the planet's surface. Next to her sat engineer Jack Reynolds, his rugged exterior belying his expertise in spacecraft mechanics. Finally, there was Lieutenant Sofia Ramirez, the team's communications specialist, her fingers poised over the console, ready to establish contact with any potential inhabitants. The landing was smooth, but the moment the hatch opened, a wave of alien scents and sounds washed over the crew, sending shivers down their spines. Ava took a deep breath, the air heavy with humidity and unfamiliar flora. "Stay alert, everyone," she cautioned, leading the team down the ramp onto the alien soil. As they ventured forth, they found themselves surrounded by towering trees with iridescent leaves and strange, bioluminescent creatures flitting through the shadows. The remnants of ancient structures peeked through the dense foliage, hinting at a civilization long forgotten. "Amazing," May breathed, her eyes wide with wonder as she examined the alien flora. "I've never seen anything like this before." Jack whistled lowly, his gaze scanning the horizon. "Looks like we're not the first ones here," he remarked, pointing to the faint outlines of structures in the distance. Sophia adjusted her headset, attempting to tune into any transmissions. "I'm not picking up any signals," she reported, her brow furrowing in confusion. "It's like this place is completely deserted." Ava nodded thoughtfully, her mind racing with questions. "Let's split up and see what we can find," she suggested, her voice firm. "Stay in pairs and keep your communicators on at all times. We don't know what's out there." With that, the team dispersed, each pair venturing into the unknown, their footsteps echoing through the silent ruins of a lost civilization. Little did they know, they were about to uncover secrets that would challenge everything they thought they knew about the universe. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the alien landscape, the team pressed deeper into the heart of the ancient ruins. Ava and Marcus led the way, their flashlights cutting through the darkness like beacons of hope in the unknown. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed through the air, causing the ground to tremble beneath their feet. The team froze, exchanging wary glances as the sound grew louder, closer. "What was that?" Sophia whispered, her voice tinged with fear. Before anyone could respond, a massive shadow loomed overhead, blotting out the stars. The ground shook violently as a colossal creature emerged from the darkness, its scales gleaming in the moonlight. "Run!" Ava shouted, her heart pounding in her chest as she grabbed Marcus's hand and sprinted away from the creature's path. The team scattered, each member darting between crumbling structures in a desperate bid for safety. May and Jack ducked behind a fallen pillar, their breath coming in ragged gasps as the creature's thunderous footsteps drew nearer. "We need to find cover," Jack yelled, his hands shaking as he reached for his toolkit. May nodded, her eyes scanning their surroundings for any sign of shelter. Suddenly, she spotted a narrow opening in the side of a nearby cliff, barely visible in the dim light. "There!" she exclaimed, pointing towards the opening. "We can hide in there until the creature passes." With a burst of adrenaline, the two of them sprinted towards the cliffside, their hearts pounding in their chests as the creature's roars echoed in the distance. Meanwhile, Ava and Marcus raced through the maze of ruins, their lungs burning with exertion as they dodged debris and leapt over fallen statues. The ground shook with each thunderous footfall, the creature's hot breath washing over them like a suffocating blanket. "We can't outrun it," Marcus shouted, his voice barely audible over the creature's deafening roars. Ava gritted her teeth, her mind racing for a solution. Suddenly, she spotted a crumbling staircase leading upwards towards a towering structure looming in the distance. "Up there!" she yelled, grabbing Marcus's hand and pulling him towards the staircase. "We'll make our stand there." With renewed determination, they sprinted towards the staircase, their muscles burning with exertion as they climbed higher and higher. The creature's roars grew louder, its massive form casting a shadow over the ancient ruins below. Finally, they reached the top of the structure, gasping for breath as they turned to face their adversary. The creature loomed before them, its eyes glowing with primal rage as it prepared to strike. But Ava refused to back down, her jaw set in a defiant line as she raised her weapon, ready to defend her team at any cost. As the creature lunged forward, she met its gaze with steely resolve, prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead on this mysterious planet. The creature's massive jaws snapped shut just inches from Ava's outstretched weapon, its hot breath washing over her face as she braced herself against the onslaught. With a swift motion, she sidestepped its attack, narrowly avoiding being crushed by its powerful jaws. Marcus leapt forward, his own weapon drawn as he unleashed a barrage of shots at the creature's exposed flank. But the bullets seemed to bounce harmlessly off its thick scales, only serving to enrage it further. "We need a plan," Marcus shouted over the deafening roar of the creature, his eyes darting around for any sign of escape. Ava nodded grimly, her mind racing as she searched for a way to defeat their formidable foe. Suddenly, her gaze fell upon the crumbling edge of the structure, the abyss yawning below like a gaping maw. "The cliff!" she yelled, grabbing Marcus's arm and pulling him towards the edge. "We'll lead it to the edge and make it fall." With a nod of understanding, Marcus followed her lead, his heart pounding in his chest as they edged closer to the crumbling precipice. The creature snarled and lunged forward, its massive claws tearing through the ancient stone as it closed in on its prey. Just as it seemed they were about to be overrun, Ava and Marcus reached the edge of the cliff, their backs pressed against the crumbling stone as the creature loomed over them, its eyes burning with primal fury. "Now!" Ava shouted, her voice echoing through the silent ruins as she and Marcus leapt to the side, narrowly avoiding the creature's massive claws. With a deafening roar, the creature tumbled over the edge of the cliff, its massive form disappearing into the abyss below with a final, earth-shattering crash. Breathless and battered, Ava and Marcus stared out into the darkness, their hearts pounding in their chests as they watched the creature disappear from sight. But their victory was short-lived, as a new danger lurked in the depths below, waiting to challenge them at every turn. As they turned to face the unknown, their minds raced with questions and fears, knowing that the true dangers of Eridani had only just begun to reveal themselves. With their comrades scattered and the mysteries of the planet still shrouded in darkness, they knew that their journey was far from over, and that the greatest challenges still lay ahead in the depths of danger. With the creature defeated, Ava and Marcus exchanged a brief glance, their eyes reflecting the uncertainty that lay ahead. The abyss before them yawned like a gaping maw, its depths shrouded in darkness and mystery. "We need to find the others," Ava said, her voice echoing softly in the silence that followed the creature's demise. Marcus nodded in agreement, his gaze scanning the treacherous terrain below. "Let's head down and see if we can locate May, Jack, and Sophia," he suggested, his tone determined despite the danger that lurked in the shadows. With cautious steps, they descended into the depths of the abyss, their flashlights cutting through the darkness like tiny beacons of hope in the unknown. The air grew colder with each passing moment, sending shivers down their spines as they ventured deeper into the heart of darkness. Suddenly, a faint sound echoed through the cavernous expanse, causing Ava and Marcus to freeze in their tracks. It was a voice, soft and haunting, like a whisper carried on the wind. "Did you hear that?" Marcus whispered, his hand instinctively reaching for his weapon. Ava nodded, her senses on high alert as they pressed forward, following the sound of the voice into the unknown depths. With each step, the darkness seemed to close in around them, enveloping them in a suffocating embrace that threatened to swallow them whole. As they rounded a corner, they came upon a vast chamber illuminated by the soft glow of bioluminescent fungi clinging to the walls. In the center of the chamber stood May and Jack, their faces pale with shock as they stared at something hidden in the shadows. "What is it?" Ava asked, her voice barely above a whisper as she stepped closer to her comrades. May shook her head, her eyes wide with disbelief. "You need to see this," she murmured, gesturing towards the darkness ahead. With a sense of trepidation, Ava and Marcus followed May's gaze, their breath catching in their throats as they beheld the sight before them. In the center of the chamber stood a massive monolith, its surface etched with strange symbols and glyphs that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. As they drew closer, Ava felt a strange sensation wash over her, like a whisper in the depths of her mind. "What is this place?" Marcus whispered, his voice barely audible over the soft hum of the monolith. Before anyone could respond, a sudden movement caught their attention, causing them to whirl around in alarm. Emerging from the shadows was a figure cloaked in darkness, its eyes gleaming with malevolent intent as it advanced towards them with slow, deliberate steps. "We're not alone," Ava said, her voice tinged with fear as they prepared to face the dangers that lurked in the depths of the abyss. With their comrades scattered and the mysteries of Eridani still shrouded in darkness, they knew that their journey was far from over, and that the true dangers of the planet had only just begun to reveal themselves. As the figure cloaked in darkness advanced towards them, Ava and Marcus stood their ground, their hearts pounding in their chests as they prepared to face whatever danger lay ahead. The air crackled with tension, anticipation hanging thick in the chamber like a heavy shroud. But just as it seemed all hope was lost, a soft glow began to emanate from the monolith behind them, casting a warm light that banished the shadows and illuminated the chamber with its gentle radiance. Ava felt a surge of hope swell within her, a flicker of courage igniting in the depths of her soul. The figure hesitated, its eyes narrowing as it recoiled from the light, its form flickering like a candle in the wind. With a cry of defiance, Ava raised her weapon, the glow of the monolith lending her strength as she prepared to confront their mysterious adversary. But before she could strike, the figure vanished into thin air, leaving behind only a lingering sense of unease that hung heavy in the air like a lingering storm cloud. Ava and Marcus exchanged a cautious glance, their hearts still racing with adrenaline as they surveyed the chamber for any sign of danger. "What was that?" Marcus asked, his voice tinged with disbelief as he turned to face Ava. Ava shook her head, her mind reeling with unanswered questions. "I'm not sure," she admitted, her gaze lingering on the monolith behind them. "But whatever it was, it's gone now." With a sense of relief washing over them, Ava, Marcus, May, and Jack regrouped, their spirits buoyed by the light of the monolith and the promise of hope that it represented. Together, they stood united against the dangers that lurked in the depths of the abyss, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead with courage and determination. As they ventured deeper into the heart of the ruins, the mysteries of Eridani began to unfold before them like pages in a forgotten tome, revealing secrets that had long been hidden from the eyes of mankind. But amidst the darkness and danger, they also discovered moments of beauty and wonder, glimpses of a world that defied comprehension and surpassed imagination. With each step forward, they drew closer to uncovering the truth behind the lost civilization of Eridani, their journey guided by the light of hope that burned bright within their hearts. And though the path ahead was fraught with peril and uncertainty, they knew that as long as they stood together, they would never lose sight of the light in the darkness, the beacon of hope that would guide them home. As the team delved deeper into the ruins of Eridani, they uncovered ancient artifacts and long-forgotten texts that shed light on the enigmatic civilization that once thrived on the planet. They learned of a society that had achieved great heights of technological advancement, but whose hubris had ultimately led to their downfall. But amidst the ruins, they also discovered glimpses of hope, a message left behind by the ancient inhabitants, a plea for forgiveness and redemption. It spoke of the mistakes of the past and the need for unity and understanding in order to build a better future. With newfound determination, Ava and her team worked tirelessly to decipher the secrets of Eridani, piecing together the puzzle of its history and unraveling the mysteries of its disappearance. Along the way, they faced countless challenges and dangers, but they never wavered in their resolve to uncover the truth. Finally, after months of exploration and discovery, the team made a breakthrough, a hidden chamber deep within the ruins containing a repository of knowledge left behind by the ancient civilization. Among its treasures were blueprints for advanced technology, insights into the nature of the universe, and a message of hope for future generations. With their mission complete, Ava and her team prepared to return home, their hearts heavy with the weight of all they had seen and experienced. But as they stood on the threshold of the unknown, they knew that their journey was far from over. As the Eridani explorer lifted off from the surface of the planet, carrying them back to the stars, Ava looked out at the distant horizon, her mind filled with thoughts of the civilization they had uncovered and the lessons they had learned. "We may never fully understand what happened here," she said, her voice tinged with sadness and wonder. "But we can learn from the mistakes of the past and strive to create a better future." With those words, the Eridani explorer disappeared into the depths of space, leaving behind a planet shrouded in mystery and a legacy of hope that would endure for generations to come. And as they journeyed homeward, Ava and her team carried with them the knowledge that even in the darkest of times, there is always a glimmer of light, a spark of hope that can illuminate the path forward and guide us home.